Welcome back everyone to episode 39 of the Tricks and Traps Speedrun. So I'm coming into today rated 1946, and hopefully we'll have another tricky and trappy day of chess. Still working on getting to the 2000 elo, so let's hop into the first game. Okay, first one, playing Alejandro Mamad something. I'm going to play knight f6, and facing a London, I'll start with c5. I have been playing this knight d5 line recently, but I'm going to go back to my main weapon, which is this. Basically reverse queen's gambit with queen b6. Queen b3. Now, I could fork. Then we trade queens, bishop c2. That's probably the way to go. I'm not thrilled with trading queens. There's also the idea of taking, but again, I think the queens are coming off the board. The nice thing is, after takes and takes, I have the A file, and even though queens are off the board, I can still potentially be tricky and trappy, and still attack on the queen side. With this pawn break, the plan is to create some weakness. Now, usually I like to play this position with the bishop already on f5, but okay, white has a diagonal. So debating whether I want to maybe develop the bishop and then challenge the diagonal. There's also just e6, keeping the bishop back. Let's be active. Bishop g4. And then e6. Yeah, generally bishops like to be outside the pawn chain. Okay, so knight e5, let's retreat. Yeah, white's being very solid. Maybe slightly regretting not doing something a bit more ambitious in the opening. I tried to be ambitious, but sometimes against certain players who play certain lines, you can only do so much. So rook e1, I can take, and then bishop g6, and it's very positional, but okay, the center simplifies a little bit. White's going to try and play e4. I mean, bishop g6, takes. We trade some more. Yeah, e4 comes. Yeah, I want to take, and rook a3, but I think white gets counterplay on the b file. So, not so easy. Let's start with bishop g6. The bishop was just staring into empty space. Okay, we trade. Yeah, it might be hard to play for much of an edge. H3 might be a little bit slow, though. Now I'm looking at the idea knight d7, bishop retreats, and then f5. Just to clamp down in the center. Now, the drawback of f5, it gives white the e5 square. Also, white could still maybe go for this e4 break. So, I'm not sure about that. If I take... Yeah, what to do? Bishop e7, there's e4. I'm looking at takes. Again, I think that only helps white. And f5, f3. f5, f3, bishop e7, e4. Yeah, what to do? I'll take a moment. Knight f6 back. We just repeat. b5 is very typical, but yeah, e4 is coming. Not easy to stop. Okay, I do have one idea. f5, f3, and then take, rook a3. I'm realizing rook b1 can be met with b6. And if white goes for e4, I can take, and then take, hitting the bishop. And maybe there's good counterplay there. Okay, let's start with f5. I mean, this was my original intention. I'm also spotting an idea f3, g5 to meet e4 with f4, chase the bishop back. So I have a couple options. Again, do I want to take, rook a3? Maybe. Let's do it. Rook a3. There is knight b1 to defend and attack. Also rook ec1. But now I feel like this is some success, because the rook's no longer on the e-file. Maybe I can just keep developing bishop e7. Although, yeah, bishop e7 looks fine. If rook b1, I can take and attack the knight. And e4 doesn't come with the same punch without the rook here. Even if the rook was here, I probably can just ignore it. I think very often the king goes to f7. So now I want to make progress. White is probably preparing rook b1, b5, b5, rook b1, b4 maybe? Okay, I'm going to start with king f7. Castling was also legal, but because we're in the endgame, I want my king closer to the center. And yeah, b6 felt automatic there, defending the pawn. There is a move bishop c7, which doesn't scare me too much. And there's ways to react, like bishop d8, maybe counterattack with rook a8. So it's not the most like tricky or trappy type of game. It's very positional. Yeah, I'm mainly going for the squeeze on the queen side. Like a2 and c3 are definitely long-term weaknesses. And compared to b6, I think, yeah, my b6 pawn is much more likely to stay alive. So let's put the rook on the a-file, creating the battery. Rook b2. I'm considering b5 and then trade b for a pawn. That might simplify too much though. I could play rook a5 to prepare, but then bishop c7. So what to do? There's g5 still. And knight b1 might be coming. Rook a5. Yeah, maybe just g5. This is mainly just an improving move. And possibly in the future, f4 can be a resource. White plays king e2. Looking at this maneuver, knight going to g6. I'm also thinking, I'm going to start with king e8. I think my king is happier on c6. And there is a path which takes 4 moves. But it's a type of position with, okay, the center was closed now, white's trying to open it. I was going to say I should have some time to maneuver the king. I think I can ignore that. Let's just play king d8. Like the king on c6 would reinforce the center, also help support the b-pawn push. Okay, knight goes back. Put the rook back. f4 looks like a potentially attractive move, but okay, now my d-pawn is hit. Yeah, maybe I should have played rook a5 first. Although, wait a minute, I can take here first. White has no time to take the pawn. Yeah, sometimes you have to look for offense before you look for defense. So I think that's the first big blunder from white. And the rook crashes through. If takes, I invade. If rook b2, then I'm just up a clean pawn. Okay, I can take and then again invade. And g2 might fall. There is rook b2. Yeah, rook b2 is probably the best try for white. And now it's a question, do I want to trade rooks? I think there's more benefit to keeping my rook on the board. I mean, trading is probably fine. I'm thinking the rook can help support b5, and then white's rook is a bit passive. Also, the knight is a bit stuck. Like, even if it comes back to d2, like, where is it going? It's restricted by the pawns. If it maneuvers to f1 to try and get to e3, I can then maybe play f4. Yeah, I'll start with b5. I still want my king to come to c6. If only it could move like a knight. I might move the knight and then, yeah, prepare king d7. Okay, white wants this move, so do I play f4? Do I play rook a1? Induce knight e3? Let's start with rook a1. Leaving the pawn hanging, but attacking the knight. Okay, now maybe it's time to trade. Take. Knight comes in. I don't really want to commit, though, to f4. Or do I? I'm going to start with knight b6. Gotta watch my time. I was really hoping to win this game quicker, but yeah, white's going to be resisting. Bishop e1. Get the king in. Yeah, if knight comes here, I just put the king here. And the general rule is when there's bishops of the same color in the endgame, then you really want your pawns on opposite color of the bishops. So yeah, put the g-pawn, g6. So yeah, going forward, maybe like knight a4, get the bishop to a5. White plays g4, interesting. Okay, I'm realizing my knight's not on the best square. I really gotta move a lot quicker. I don't think white's really threatening much on the king side. So my idea is to put the knight on c6, and then eventually prepare b4. Target the base of the pawn chain, and then go after d4. There's another idea to maybe plant the bishop on f4. But whenever I move the bishop, there might be attacks against g5. Yeah, I think b4 is very likely coming next. Oh, f4. Didn't see that coming. Take. Oh, that's a good move. Take. Wow. Does it win a pawn? Let's start with this, and then b4? Oh, man. I think I'd lose a pawn there. Oh, it's not simple. And good thing about being up a pawn is if you lose a pawn, then it's equal material. I didn't want to take, allowing the knight to fork everything. Okay, if I take with knight... Or no, I can take here. Take there first. So I have 2 connected passers. I also have 41 seconds. Yeah, likely looking at knight f3. There's no increment, so gotta lock in here. Allowing knight f4, it's risky. King d6. I'm really banking on my 2 connected passers. Knight f4, king d6. Okay, I have this move. So now knight f4, probably king f7. Keep the pawn defended. Oh, I could have taken. Ah, I should have taken. It's still looking good, though. Down a minute. White's best try might be to take and play this. I might have to end up mating with bishop and knight. Okay, let's take. Play this. So defending. I think this is okay. Takes, I take. Here. And just this. So if takes, I queen. The king stops the pawn. Okay. Oh, I almost mouse slipped under promoting. That could have been tragic. Forgot I don't have auto queen. Okay. Check. I'll remove the king coming in. Check. There's a pin. How do I do this? Okay. Oh, that was stressful. Wow, White really resisted there. Oh man. Should have been wearing a heart rate monitor. Oh man. Yeah, so if White played this, it's mate in 2. I can play queen h1, cutting the king off, forcing this, and then checkmate. So I had just enough time. Oh, wow. Good fight. Yeah, there's no reason to let the pawns come in so quickly. Although, I mean, I have to get my king back at some point. Is there a cleaner way to do this? Maybe, yeah, maybe king f6 here. But it's kind of weird with this pawn. I can also just take. Yeah, taking is actually maybe simpler. Take here and then here would have been probably the simplest. So going back, yeah, I wonder if I misplayed the opening somewhere. Because usually the move against knight f3 is queen b6. But against bishop d3, yeah, queen b6 is still good. Engine really likes this for black. Wow, this is -1 in black's favor. I'm trying to understand why. b3. And then it's -2. Black's nearly winning. But why? Bishop b1? Wow, e6? Castle? Oh, I understand. The pawn chain prevents the bishop from developing. Like, even if white plays a3... Okay, first of all, b5... Yeah, if white eventually plays a3, The bishop's just stuck. And that means the rook is stuck too. There might be ideas of b4 with the pin on the a file. So it's very deep. Yeah, b3 didn't cross my mind because I'm so used to targeting c3. But yeah, that could have been really nice. Yeah, good lesson to learn that in such positions, a bishop can get stuck on this seemingly good diagonal. Going forward, yeah, black is still for choice, but took a lot of work. And yeah, I was in control. It just white was resisting and not making life easy. And at some point, yeah, this f4 move I just did not see coming. But okay, I broke through. I eventually won the piece. I regretted not playing bishop takes g5 because then the knight is actually completely stuck. Played d4 a little bit too soon, but still winning. And okay, had just enough time to convert the ending. Okay, that brings me to 1955. Let's keep it going. Okay, next opponent playing white. And we have a Caro Kann. Oh, what do I want to play against the Caro Kann? Two Knights attack? Or Alien Gambit? I don't think I've played an Alien Gambit this series. It's after Knight f6. Okay, Alien Gambit time. We'll have some fun. Opponent seems unfazed. c5, wow. So it's a piece sacrifice. To be honest, I don't know too much theory, but knight e5 is very typical. Bishop d3 is also typical. I mean, knight e5 looks like the move to start with. I guess if I play the Alien Gambit, I should know a little bit of theory. Oh, what to do next? c5 makes a lot of sense. Bishop c4. Maybe like c3. I'm going to start with c3. It just creates ideas of queen b3. Okay, there's knight g6 here. I mean, the point of this opening is to really exploit the light squares on the king side. Which, yeah, I can hop in. I'm trying to remember my, I had a match against Witty Alien where we played into a lot of these lines. He was armed with some deep ideas, like there's some eventual queen f5 idea. Huh. Bishop c4, e6. Okay, I kind of like the idea of starting with bishop c4. We'll also start with queen f3. Queen b3. Bishop c4, e6. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not feeling great about this. I remember some g4 ideas too. Oh, how do I want to do this? How about queen b3? e6, bishop f4, just develop. Take and then castle. Okay, I'm going to try and play a bit more intuitively. And this is part calculation, part intuition. I didn't want to commit this bishop because I want to see how black kind of tries to develop. But starting with bishop f4 and preparing to queenside castle. And I think if I get to queenside castle, then I can more freely attack on the king side, like g4, g5. So I'm not recapturing just yet. Have the pin, which no longer exists. Queen b6 is a very good move. I have to play queen c2. Oh man, I don't want to trade queens though. Yeah, I think the Alien Gambit has completely backfired. I'm realizing like queen c2, take take, and then queen c5. I have bishop c4 there. Oh man. Queen c2. Take, take. Queen c5. I think I gotta go for it though. I can't afford to trade queens. I might have bishop c4 to avoid the queen trade. Yeah, my opponents handled this very well. I wonder if they've done like specific prep for the alien gambit. Yeah, maybe it's a common opening at this rating level. It's one of these openings that have it's probably gained popularity in recent years. I mean, the nice thing is that, I mean, black is still a bit underdeveloped on the king side, but yeah, some initiative. Knight d5, nice move. Bishop. Oh, knight d5 is a really nice move, hitting c3 as well. I might have to take. Take on c6. Yeah, I have nothing here. I'm looking at knight g6. Knight g6, take, take. Oh, there's knight c4 too to hit the queen. Maybe that's the way to go. Queen c5. Queen c5, b4. I'm not sure. This looks very shaky. So I hit the queen. I mean, in order to come back from this, I really have to rely on maybe some tricks and traps. Some potential to swindle somehow. Might revolve around exploiting black's queen. Like queen c5, b4. The queen gets kicked around a little bit. But b4 would be really weakening to my king. There's also a line queen c5, take, take, sack the rook, and then plant the bishop here. I don't know. Yeah, that also looks just bad, but do I sack the rook? Take, take. b4. I really don't have too many options or too much time. I'm gonna go for it. I really have to rely on the lean development. The fact that this rook is stuck for a bit longer. I think I'm committed to sacking. Bishop b5. Okay, so got back some initiative, but queen c5, and then what next? Because b5 might be coming. Okay, queen g4, interesting. Bishop e2. Bishop e2, queen g5, f4. Maybe just king b1 there. There's also h3. King b1. So knight defends the bishop. There is b5. I think I have enough ways to counterattack after b5. I didn't fully calculate it, but let's say b5, f4. Take and then maybe h4. Or even queen e4 there. Okay, bishop d3. Opponent wants rook c8. Oh, what to do, what to do. There. Really want to prepare f4. Yeah, good move. Let's play f4. Being very anti-materialistic. Allowing this. Maybe h4. Yeah, actually h4. If queen here, knight e3. The queen's tied down to defending the knight. The thing is, I'm down a full rook. I thought I win back material, but it might not be enough. Okay, I gotta take. It's so ugly. I gotta take and take. Okay. So I have a knight. I have the bishop pair, but so does my opponent. It's basically knight for rook and pawn. I'm down about 3 minutes on the clock. Okay, it's not easy. I mean, nice thing is the knight is centralized. Arguably more powerful than either rook for black currently. The problem is long term, it might not be enough. That's a great move. Have to play. Actually, what do I play? h5? I'm going to clamp down a little bit. Allowing this, and then this. Yeah, this is a check. Knight g6. A little bit of hope. The king could be a target. There's bishop f or bishop e5 ideas. Wow. Opponent gives me back the rook if I want it. Let's start with a check. Actually feels close to some mating net. Check. Okay, I'm fighting back. I feel much better about this position than just a few moves ago. There's bishop d5. And now what? Can I take and then check? Let's go for this check. The rook comes in. Yeah, I'm still probably worse. Check. This move. This. So black has the option which thing to take. Start with a check. This is going to be really close. Take. There's rook e5. There's this takes. I'm not sure about this. Oh, but I have rook b5. Okay, I might actually be winning back or winning a pawn. So bishop d4. Oh, but there's takes. But then here. Okay, I have this. Rook b5. Or even bishop c1. That was unexpected. I played this. The bishop's coming to a good diagonal. I don't know how I'm up a pawn here. I was I was down a whole rook. a bit earlier. I like gradually won back material. Yeah, if I get the bishop to d4, then life is pretty good. Controlling the long diagonal. The biggest concern is time. Okay. Yeah, very solid. Rook h3 might threaten this. Okay. I have a tactic. Yeah, should be completely winning now. Plenty of time. Give up the h-pawn. Go after this pawn. And cutting off the king. Now the pawns will push. Yeah, slowly but surely. That's a free rook. Okay. GG. I really thought I was gonna lose that. My opponent seemed really well prepared, c5. So, I mean, this is the main starting position of the Alien Gambit. I'm pretty sure knight f3 is the move to go for. c5 is the top stockfish move. My opponent blitzed it out, so they were probably prepared. Knight e5. Engine prefers bishop c4, e6, queen e2. But yeah, the nature of sacking a piece early is if the opponent holds on to it, then it can be difficult, especially if you don't get the quick attack. So I played c3, going for more like long-term compensation. I mean, to be honest, I don't know what I could have done differently in the opening. Like, it's -2 in black's favor. This, sack the pawn, knight c6. Okay, engine's giving some ideas of this setup. This actually looks kind of fun. Maybe a better version of what I did in the game. c3 perhaps is a bit slow. And yeah, going forward, I mean, kudos to my opponent for completely diffusing my Alien Gambit. Black just kept growing the advantage. I sacked the rook. It's around -4 in black's favor. And then I didn't have much better here. f4, h4, and queens got traded. But then around here, I started finding some life. I think king f7, as logical as it looks to get the king out and eventually get the rook in, the king ended up being a target, and I got initiative with knight g6. And then here, yeah, the king is very much of a target. Of course, I then eventually win back the rook too. But black is still better because they have an extra pawn as well. Though engine prefers rook e1, which I briefly considered. The idea being takes and then takes. I just didn't want black to keep the bishop pair. Okay, so my opponent made the wrong decision here. They should have taken the bishop. My knight would escape. And then king f6. And black is up a healthy pawn with ideas of king g5. The knight's not that special. Even though it's an outpost, h5 is going to be weak. But then I won back the pawn, and yeah, going forward here, I did notice the best move for black, but my opponent missed it. Rook takes b2. And then it would have been really difficult for me to win, because if takes, yeah, black is probably the one playing for a win. I think I was going to play king c1, and then, okay, there's bishop a3, or still bishop d4. But yeah, bishop e7, and then I won the pawn, and then I'm better and managed to convert. So, okay, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Had some really tough battles this episode, 2 games where I was in big trouble on the clock. Also this game in the position. But hope you guys enjoyed the chess today. Hope you guys learned a thing or two. And to be honest, this game is probably my last time playing the Alien Gambit in this speedrun. But if there's any other Gambits or tricky aggressive openings you want me to play, do let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'm done for now, ending today at 1963. Hope you guys enjoyed the chess, and stay tuned for more. I'll see you guys soon.